Most people, to the untrained eye, are going to sit here and say that this owner starved her dogs.
We're going to head up to that dog hall right now. So we'll go out, we'll assess the situation.
I mean, look at it. These dogs look like garbage. I mean, that's just not. Did you see there's bags of food there?
She was very upset about losing all of her cats. She called me up a few times in tears.
I need my photos. I need to be able to paint this picture for the judge so that he sees what I see.
The walking excavator is what we use to traverse and stabilize and mow the canals in the various locations. It's a very specialized piece of equipment with a specialized skill set for the operators. They were originally designed to operate on the side of mountains, but there's been uses to find them and to be used within swamps and canals. Its main role is to traverse into the canal to remove the sediment that's been washed away from the banks and into the bottom of the canal and reestablish that onto the banks. We got to bring the wet dirt from the bottom, set it on top, let it dry a little bit, and then it gets repacked into the banks to recontour and also to open up the capacity of the canal. Once that is complete, then we come back and either by the time frame of the job starting to stopping, either Mother Nature has started to grow grass back through. If that is not the case, then we will actually order sod to be laid down to help ensure that the dirt that's been repacked stays in place.
Welcome to the Board of County Commissioners Comprehensive Plan Amendment Public Hearing. The Board of County Commissioners will consider the adoption of text and map amendments to the Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. Following the Comprehensive Plan Amendment Public Hearing, the Board will hold a hearing for consideration of the adoption of a proposed amendment to the Land Development Code. I have one notice to read into the record from Chair Hagan. It says, please be advised that I am unable to attend today's public hearing due to a scheduling conflict. Best regards, Ken Hagan, District 2. We have one continuation request. The applicant for HCCPA 2522 has requested a continuance to the February 12th, 2026 Comprehensive Plan public hearing at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to continue? No?
I think it just happened, right?
It says we have to have a motion.
Does require motion in order to
So moved.
serve the
Second.
notice.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cohen and a second by Commissioner Bowles. Please record your vote.
Evening.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. Motion carried 6-0.
I will now request that the Planning Commission staff introduce the first item on this evening's agenda.
Good evening. For the record, this is Jillian Massey with Planning Commission staff. First on the agenda would be the consideration of the adoption of large-scale comprehensive map amendments. Item B1 is HCCPA 25-16 and will be presented by Diego Guerra.
No? Yeah, there we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Diego Guerra, Planning Commission staff. Again, this item is CPA 2516, updates to the surface water resource protection areas and wellhead resource protection areas update. Again, this item was transmitted by you to the state for further review back at October's hearing. To recap, this is a publicly initiated amendment specific to 2 maps within the future land use map series. The request was to update the surface water resource protection map with the latest data and remove Zone 1 and redefine Zone 2 on the wellhead resource protection areas map. Should any new wells or wellheads be connected to the public potable water system in the future, those maps would be updated accordingly. That concludes my presentation. Myself and county staff are available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to CPA 2516, please come forward. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cohen, a second by Commissioner Wustel. Please record your votes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Next item, please.
Next up is item B2, which is HCCPA 25-17, presented by Ms. Katrina Corcoran.
Good evening, Katrina Corcoran, Planning Commission staff. I'm here tonight to present the text amendment to the Quarter Preservation Plan map and text to the mobility section. As a reminder, this is a privately initiated text amendment that would be adding a quarter, Fort Hamner Road, to the adopted Quarter Preservation Plan map. There is also a staff recommended policy addition to the mobility section. This slide shows the mobility sections map series, including map 1, which is the adopted Quarter Preservation Plan map. This map is utilized to protect future right-of-way from encroachment, provide connectivity, and ensure transportation corridors are adequate to serve planned growth and development patterns as defined in the future land use section. This slide shows the proposed change with the Fort Hamner Road proposed alignment. This is in southern Hillsborough County, and it's outside of the coastal high hazard area and the urban service area. This slide shows that the proposed roadway alignment is within the Little Manatee South Community Plan and the Urban Expansion Area, or UEA, study boundaries. The applicant noted and provided documentation of significant entitlements in Manatee County abutting the potential roadway. This slide shows the map with the addition of the proposed Fort Hamner Road. This shows this slightly more zoomed in. Note that the roadway is orange, indicating that it is a maximum of 6 lanes. We did receive comments, agency comments from the following agencies that are listed on this slide. We also received comments from state agencies post-transmittal. Most of these were no comment or no objection. I will note that the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission conducted a GIS analysis of the roadway for wildlife and noted that it has habitat for several federal and state listed species, and they recommended wildlife surveys and use of wildlife crossings. All of that would come after, in engineering and design after the comprehensive plan amendment process. The interchange that is proposed in this roadway, which is not a part of this amendment, is noted in the TPO's long-range transportation plan. There are wetlands near the proposed alignment, which is noted in your staff report. However, this is not a concern in terms of moving this forward with the Corridor Preservation Plan map. There's also significant wildlife habitat near the proposed alignment, and again, the Environmental Protection Commission noted wildlife crossings in the area for the potential roadway. Planning Commission staff did find the amendment consistent with the objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan listed here. There are a few other related policies noted throughout, including the Environmental and Sustainability Intergovernmental Coordination section, in terms of coordination with the EPC, and the mobility section speaking to future land use in looking at projecting future roadways. With that, there is a proposed policy addition to the mobility section that reads, enable infrastructure planning to occur concurrently with or in advance of the adoption urban expansion areas as outlined in the future land use section. Preliminary planning efforts may include, but are not limited to, updates to the Corridor Preservation Plan map and or the LRTP. Again, this was staff recommended, but the applicant agreed with adding it to their amendment. With that, the Planning Commission found HCCPA 25-17 consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, with the addition of the proposed mobility section policy 4.2.6. This item is up for your consideration for adoption. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant here?
I'm very sorry for that slow reaction, Madam Chair.
It's okay. You have 15 minutes.
I want to take 30 seconds. Madam Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Pat Neal. We've built about 27,000 homes, mostly in Manatee and Sarasota County. As you know, northern Manatee County is the center of the universe for those of us who live in Southwest Florida. The property to the north is a completely pristine space that we're going to make a beautiful community out in due course. We have a major road, a 2, 4, and 6-lane road called Fort Hamner Extension, which goes across the Manatee River and stops, as you can see on the green graphic, right at the Hillsborough County line. The very short version is that should go somewhere. If we can get it across to Ruskin, that would be an important thing for the people of Hillsborough County. And in due course, we'd like to be able to plan a community around these two green and yellow lines. So we've had a very good experience with your staff. We like working with Hillsborough County. I can say, as briefly as I can say, Madam Chair, we hope you'll go forward with this amendment. Thanks so much.
Is there anyone else with the applicant? If not, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to CPA 2517, please come forward.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Greg Horwedel. I'm Deputy County Administrator for Hillsborough County, for the record. And I did want to note, while this is a privately initiated amendment, there are some things that do belong in tandem. And part of the reason that I'm up here is to let you know that we're going to have a publicly initiated, county-initiated amendment to add Fort Hamner I-75 interchange to the comprehensive plan. That is going to be part of this coming cycle, and you'll hear more about that when it's time to make that presentation. I believe that that provides a very thoughtful opportunity for planning. We think at the staff level, it gives us an opportunity to get ahead of some of the development pressure that may occur with roads and other infrastructure. We think the applicant has made a very thoughtful and wise decision to collaborate early on with the county, and we're happy to support this. I should also remind you that, as you may recall, back in July, you authorized us to submit a letter to the state for the Land Reserve Stewardship District. That is House Bill 4061, filed by Representative Michael Owen. So we're continuing to work on that with the applicant. We think that is another extraordinarily proactive step for us to have and to take to make sure that these types of developments integrate well with the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioner Wustel, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that over the past 3 years, I've berated all of you with all of my gripes about the many decades of backlogs of unimproved roads that we have mismanaged here in Hillsborough County, including things like Lithia Pinecrest, all things that were supposed to be done 2 decades ago when they were initially advertised. And I think this might be the only road that's been planned for ahead of time since I've been here. And I don't know if whether to be happy or sad about that reality, but not only do I think that it's a good thing, I think it should be the model as we go forward. So I will move for approval. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion by Commissioner Wustel and a second by Commissioner Cohen. Seeing no one else in the queue, please record your vote.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next item, please.
Next on the agenda is Section C, which is the consideration of adoption of small-scale future land use amendments. Item C1 is HC CPA 25-19, which will be presented by Lillian Linehan.
Good evening, Commissioners. Lillian Linehan, Planning Commission staff, here to present HC CPA 2519, located at 4950 Saffold Road. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 10.01 acres. The applicant is requesting to expand the urban service area, and this amendment is associated with HC CPA 2520, which is a request to change the future land use category from agricultural rural 1 to 5 to residential 4. This is the general location map. As I mentioned in the previous slide, this application is associated with HC CPA 2520. It is located within the rural area, and it is also within the limits of the South Shore Area-Wide Systems Plan and the Waimama Village Community Plan. It is located north of Saffold Road and west of County Road 579. Here is an aerial of the site. The site is outlined in pink, and the blue line indicates the existing urban service area boundary. This is looking north of the subject site from Saffold Road. This is looking north from Saffold Road to the single-family use that is currently on the subject site. This is looking west of the subject site from Saffold Road. And this is facing east of the subject site from Saffold Road. And lastly, this is on the subject site looking north. At a minimum, this amendment would bring approximately 10.0 acres into the urban service area, which requires at a minimum connection to public water and sewer. The proposed amendment received no formal objections. However, it did receive a few comments from the following agencies, which are important to note. The Public Utilities Administration stated that this system currently has sufficient potable water capacity to accommodate the proposed land use change. However, public potable water service does not exist within a quarter mile from the subject property. Additionally, the system also has sufficient wastewater capacity to accommodate the proposed land use change, but public wastewater service does not exist within a quarter mile from the subject property. Community infrastructure planning staff analysis on traffic impacts would be addressed in the report for the accompanying plan map amendment HCCPA 2520, and based on that traffic analysis, there's adequate capacity to accommodate the additional trips generated by the proposed future land use change. Under HCCPA 2520, and Hillsborough County Public Schools stated that Waimama Elementary, Shields Middle, and Sumner High Schools are projected to be over capacity given the existing approved development and proposed amendment. Currently, additional capacity exists in adjacent concurrency service areas at the high school level. However, there is no adjacent capacity available at the elementary and middle school levels, and the applicant was advised to contact the school district for more information. The proposed amendment is consistent with the following objectives, objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan. The proposal meets the intent of FLU's Objective 1.1 and FLU's Policy 1.1.9, which directs 80% of the population growth into the urban service area and establishes the criteria for publicly and privately initiated USA amendments. In this case, the subject site is adjacent and contiguous to the established urban service area. Additionally, the site is adjacent to a publicly initiated amendments that the Board of County Commissioners directed staff to initiate, and the request meets the criteria in FLU's Policy 1.1.9. According to FLU's Policy 3.1.1, 3.1.2, and 3.1.3, compatibility and gradual transitions of intensities and densities between different land uses shall be provided for as new development is proposed. The residential 4 future land use designation surrounds the site, and there are lower density residential developments on all sides. The transition to residential 4 on the subject site with an urban service area expansion would allow for density and intensity that is compatible with the existing area. FLU's Objective 4.4 and its associated policies seek to protect existing neighborhoods and communities and those that will emerge in the future. The request is consistent with the neighborhood community development objective and policies, as the surrounding land use pattern is comprised of mostly single-family residential and agricultural uses. And south of Saffold Road, there are mainly public, quasi-public institutional uses. The proposed request complements the existing community character and development pattern. And lastly, the proposal meets Goal 5 of the Waimama Village Community Plan. Goal 5 of the plan seeks to encourage housing to accommodate a diverse population and range of income levels. The expansion of the urban service area and change of the future land use designation increases the type of housing allowed on the subject site, as well as allows for housing on a smaller lot size, which can be more affordable for the residents of the Waimama Village area. The Planning Commission recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan. And this concludes my presentation. I'm here if you have any questions.
This is a combined public hearing for HCCPA 2519 and HCCPA 2520. If you're wishing to speak, please come forward.
Good evening, Cammie Corbett with the law firm of Hill, Ward & Henderson. I don't really have anything else to add here. It's pretty straightforward. These are little add-on pieces to the council zoning that you've already approved, and you'll see a rezoning in a few months that shows that we're not adding any units actually to the PD. We're just kind of adding the acreage. So I'm here to answer any questions should you have any.
Not seeing anyone else. We do have to vote on these separately. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
Second.
So we have to vote on them separately. Thank you. Please record your vote. We had a motion by Commissioner Whistle and a second by Commissioner Myers for HCCPA 2519.
Motion carried 6-0.
On C2?
Move approval.
Second.
Sorry, the confusion was we thought the presentation was for both. That's what I was advised. So that's why I moved forward. So I'm sorry if you would like this second one presented.
That's the decision of the board. If you'd like to hear the presentation, then staff can give the presentation.
I apologize. I thought that it was combined, but if you'd like to proceed with the presentation, they can.
Okay.
For the record, I think we should, so no one come back and say we did not.
Okay, so then item C2 is HCCPA 25-20, which will be presented by Alexis Myers. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Alexis Myers, Planning Commission staff, here to present HCCPA 25-20, located at 4950 Southfield Road. This is a privately initiated map amendment that is small in scale and approximately 10.01 acres. The applicant is requesting to change the future land use designation from agricultural rural 1 to 5 to residential 4. This is the general location map. This amendment is associated with HCCPA 2519 to expand the urban service area. It is in the rural area within the limits of the South Shore Airway Systems Plan and Waimama Village Community Plan. It is located north of Saffold Road and west of County Road 579. Here is the area of the site. The site is outlined in pink, and the blue line indicates the urban service area boundary. Here's some photos of the site. This is looking north of the subject site from Saffold Road. This is looking north as well to the single-family use on the subject site. This is looking west of the subject site from Southfield Road. And this is facing east of the subject site from Southfield Road. And then this is on the subject site looking north. Currently, the future land use designation is agricultural rural 1 to 5. The agricultural rural 1 to 5 category allows one dwelling unit per 5 gross acres and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.25. This designation allows for the consideration of farms, ranches, feedlots, residential, neighborhood commercial, offices, industrial uses related to agricultural uses, and mining-related activities. Other future land use categories shown in this map include natural preservation and agricultural 1 to 10. The applicant is proposing to amend the future land use category to residential 4. The residential 4 category allows 4 dwelling units per gross acre and a maximum floor area ratio of 0.25. This designation allows for the consideration of agricultural, residential, neighborhood commercial, office uses, and multi-purpose projects. Next are the impacts. As far as existing conditions, currently under AR 1 to 5, the site could consider up to 2 dwelling units or 109,008 square feet of non-residential uses. Under the proposed future land use designation of Res 4, the site could consider up to 40 dwelling units or 109,008 square feet of non-residential uses. During the rezoning process, commercial locational criteria may affect the allowable square footage for potential non-residential development. The proposed amendment will result in an increase in development potential by allowing higher residential density. This is a consistency review. The proposed amendment is consistent with the following objectives and policies of the comprehensive plan. The residential 4 future land use designation surrounds a site with low-density residential on all sides. The transition to Res 4 on the subject site and an urban service area expansion would allow for development that is compatible with the surrounding development and would be consistent with the objectives and policies regarding compatibility and neighborhood protection. The proposed amendment is also consistent with the South Shore Area-wide Systems Community Plan and Waiwamit Village Community Plan, as well as the Livable Communities element. With this, Planning Commission recommends that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, and this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Ms. Myers. Sorry for the confusion. Would the applicant like to come forward? Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on CPA 2520? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
I hear a motion by Commissioner Cohen and a second by Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Okay. We will now adjourn the Comprehensive Plan Amendment public hearing and begin the Land Development Code Amendment public hearing. The Board of County Commissioners will consider the adoption of the amendment to the Land Development Code. The board will vote on the proposed amendment after the close of the public hearing. I will now request that the Development Services Department staff introduce the Land Development Code Amendment of this evening's agenda.
Good evening. Israel Monsanto Development Services. Land Development Code 25-1226 updates to the wellhead and surface water protection area. The purpose of this proposed Land Development Code text amendment is to update regulations associated with the CPA to provide clarity to the existing Land Development Code language and align the review frequency with the Tampa Bay Waters Master Plan updates. This will consolidate regulations for the removal of the WRPA Zone 1, improve the current Land Development Code text from 30500. It will also remove the WRPA Zone 1 areas delineated in the map, since there has been no new public potable water supply wells constructed in this zone since its adoption 21 years ago, nor are there any future plans to do so. And lastly, we'll provide flexibility for the county to review and provide map updates between review cycles to propose WRPA or SWRPA designation for future or additional sources of drinking water when discovered. No significant changes since the first public hearing, and this concludes my presentation. Staff is available if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. Seeing no one in the queue. Board discussion, pleasure.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Whistle, second by Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote on LDC 251126.
Motion carried 6-0.
Any other business? We are adjourned.